In episode 1, we're going to be building a headboard out of an old fence panel. So let's get started. Hi guys. Now this fence panel I saved from when our fence blew down in the high winds a few months back, and I thought, hey, this is nice wood, we can do something with this. And then my wife said, we don't have a headboard, I think this would be nice as a headboard. So that's what we're going to do. We have a king size bed, this is wide enough, big enough, and we're going to turn it into a headboard. Here's the fence panel that we're going to use, and as you can see, it's in really good shape. Most of the boards are, there's not any rot on it except for down there at the bottom. What we'll do on that is we'll go ahead and we'll cut this bottom board off. The 2x4, we'll just run right along it and cut that off. And then we're going to build some legs that come up this way to be able to hold on to the bed frame and hold it to the bed and make it stand up real nice and everything. Alright, now the first thing we got to do is I got to go in and make measurements of the bed to find out, is this too wide? Do I need to cut some of this fence off? And then also, how high does it need to be? And then we'll come out and we'll take a circular saw and we'll cut it to what our measurements need it to be. And then we'll cut the other boards for the leg supports, and we'll also measure to where we got to drill for the carriage bolts to attach the headboard. To give you an idea of what I'm going to do for the legs, I'm going to take a 2x4 like this. This is not the actual one that we're going to use because it's got to be taller. But we're going to take it here and just attach it on here like this. And down there at the bottom, I'm going to double it up just so that it gives more thickness for the bed frame to attach to and the carriage bolts and everything. And this headboard is actually going to be attached to the bed frame, and it will be freestanding. It doesn't have to be attached to the wall. Take 5 for a potty break.
Thank you.
Okay, I've laid this board down here. So the first thing I've got to do is I want to cut this rotten wood off the bottom. And you can see it doesn't go up very far, so I'm just going to leave this support board on here and just trim along this board and cut all the rotten stuff off. This is a reciprocating saw, or what's also known as a sawzall. This will cut a lot of different things. There's blades for metal, there's blades for wood. You could probably cut through tile with one if you had to. A lot of times it's used for demolition because you just want to cut it and get rid of it. And that's what this thing will do. So I could use this and just run it along here like this, keeping it in line with that board right there. But it'll take a lot longer and it's harder to keep the saw even. So I'm going to use a circular saw because I can put it down on here like this. The blade thickness of the blade helps to keep me in line from board to board, whereas that blade is a whole lot thinner, so you have to pay a whole lot more attention to where you're going with it. So we'll just use that and we'll get it plugged in. I got my circular saw set up. I set the depth on it to 1 inch. These are 1/2 inch boards, but I want it to go down beyond the board and kind of run along the 2x4 on the bottom. I'm going to use that as my guide. So we're all set, ready to go. I'm going to put my eye protection on. My circular saw, in my opinion, is not that loud, so I'm not going to put ear protection on, but some machinery you need to put ear protection on as well. Alright, that looks good. That was fun, but now I got to clean this mess up. Then the other thing we got to do is I've measured the fence panel and it is 7 foot 4 inches wide. The bed is only 6 foot 4 inches wide. So we've got to cut it down to size. 76 inches in. Gets me right to there. Right to there. .76 inches. Gets me right to there. Okay, so now we need to draw a guideline along here. So I've got a yardstick that typically yardsticks are nice and straight and they're long, so I'll just connect my two marks and draw a line between them. Just got to try to draw dark enough so that you can see it and guide the saw along that line. Let's do it. Okay, I'm nailing, some of these nails are starting to come out a little bit, so we don't want that, so I'm just nailing them back in. Okay, this is a 12-inch compound miter saw. You can cut angles into boards. It's just a quick, easy way of cutting boards. It's a very good saw to have in a garage if you do a lot of board cutting. So what we need to do now is our legs, the vertical legs, are going to go up and down this way. That's what vertical means. Then we're going to attach them. This was a 6-foot high fence, but we cut the bottom of it off, so now it's 5 foot something. So we'll mark our legs, and actually they don't need to go all the way up to the top. They only need to go up to this brace here. They can get screwed onto this brace, and then screwed onto this brace, and the very bottom brace. Set it on the ground like this. We'll set this upright so it's nice and straight up and down. And then we'll mark it. I need to cut it to right here. Forward so that I can reach it. Raise it up. Get my eye protection on. Okay, so in order to cut this board right here, we just pull the saw blade down, line it up with our mark on it, and hold it firmly. Make sure your hand doesn't get anywhere near the saw blade. Crank it up. One of them is cut. Take the other one. Pull the saw blade down. Don't touch the trigger when you're pulling it down. Okay, we're lined up. Push, hold the board firm, start it up, and pull it down and cut. Alright, that is those two cut. Slide the saw back out of the way. Okay, now that I got these two pieces of wood cut, I'm going to call them the foot section because they're going to go right underneath the headboard. And then this we'll call the leg so that y'all know which piece I'm referring to. So these two foot sections are cut. We're going to screw them to the leg. And I got my drill out. I went ahead and picked out a drill bit because I'm going to pre-drill 3 holes in there. I'm just going to do 3 screws in each. That'll be strong enough to hold it on. I went ahead and picked out a drill bit. But when you pick out the drill bit to drill the holes, you want to make sure that your drill bit is not thicker than the shaft of your screw. So you want the threads to be sticking out beyond the shaft of the drill bit. That way they grab into the wood, but the shaft doesn't split the wood open. 2x4s typically are not going to split, but we don't want them to, so we're just going to make sure. Oh, I need this. Just going to put it away. So we just run that down so we can slide this in here. And then I'm just going to pick 3 spots on here because I'm only going to use 3 screws on each. So not quite in the center and down a little bit, and then another one in the middle of the board, but not quite in the center. So they're staggered off just slightly, so they're not just centered down. So And then we take our screws. Now this is a it's probably 2 3/4 inch screw, or maybe 2 1/2. Each section of 2x4 is 1.5 inches, so we got a total of 3 inches. I have some 3-inch screws that I'm going to be using, but not on this part, because they'll begin to poke out the other side, and there'll be the sharp end sticking out. So there's a possibility that you could poke yourself on it, so we want to avoid that. Okay, now I'm going to do the second leg. So here we go. Okay, now we'll get all the screws put in and we'll be good to go on that. Okay, I've got the fence panel up onto my workbench because now it's time to attach the legs to the back of the fence panel. So what we're going to do here is, remember I called this the foot piece, and it's the foot because it's where the headboard fence panel is going to rest on. So we just slide that down there like that, line it up with the very edge. Make sure going up we have it lined up with the edge, and then what I'll do is I will drill 2 holes in here to put 2 screws in. You could use just 1 screw, but then that allows your board to swivel back and forth, and it's just not as strong. So I know it's just a bed, but it still gets bumped up against and stuff like that, so you do want to have some strength to it, and 2 screws are going to hold it a whole lot better than just 1. So I'm putting 2 screws in here, and I always off-center my screws so that it just creates a better hold. Okay, so we've got 2 screws, and 2 screws in it. It's on there nice and secure, and we're good to go. Now, one thing I will show you real quick, and then I'll go ahead and attach the other leg. We're going to take these boards off, and because this is all going to stick out away from the wall, don't want it to be seen, so I'm going to take these boards off and we're going to attach it right here to the side to cover up that gap in the leg, because this is nice clean wood, this is nice aged fence, and we don't want the drastic difference. So, and that also give it a nice decorative finish around on the side. So let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll start up with the next part. Okay, there we have our headboard. That looks pretty good. I like it. It's going to give us a nice outdoor country kind of feel, which is what we like and enjoy. So I think my wife is going to be really happy with it. Now, what I'm going to do, remember I talked about covering up the edge because it's very thick and it's going to stick out away from the wall. You may not be able to see it in camera, but down here on the bottom where the feet are, right down here, this is where the bed frame is going to mount to. And we're going to screw this to the bed frame right there. And then it's just going to be freestanding from there on up. So sticking out this far away from the wall, this is the wall right here. This is how far it's going to stick out. We don't want all that to show. We're going to take this extra piece of fencing. Remember I cut this off of that side over there, the other opposite side of the headboard. And it had 3 good boards on it. So I took all 3 of them off of the braces that were on it, and very carefully, and took the nails out so that it stays in good shape. And then this is just going to be screwed on right here. And I think it covers up the leg, fills up this gap, and makes a real nice looking edge to it rather than the leg. Shoo! I'm tired. That's it. I'm done. It can stay right here like this for another year. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, now what we have to do here is where I'm going to actually I'm going to pull it away from the wall, get behind it. So with the help of my daughter, I'm going to slide this forward against the foot board, and we're going to mark 2 screw holes. There's a hole here and a slot here for the carriage bolt to go through, and then we'll drill some holes, slide the carriage bolts through there, tighten it down, and we'll be good. This is called keep the wife happy stuff. You vacuum up your mess before you put it all together. I introduce y'all to my helper. This is Mr. Birch. He likes to help a whole lot, don't you, Mr. Birch? He's a good dog. He's a good dog. He helps his papa all the time. He's there for moral support every moment of the day. Aren't you, Mr. Birchie?
Back to work, honey.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to bring the headboard up 2, so I'm going to have to dump the mattress off. It's probably not going to make you happy, but I will remake the bed. If you have any suggestions of videos you might want to see, leave me a comment down there in the comments, and then I can do that video for you. Thanks. Is that dumb?
No, it's perfect.
Wow, was that not an awesome video? Is that right? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I plan on bringing you a whole lot more like that. So do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right down here and that like button right down here. That'll help me out. I really appreciate it. We'll see you again real soon.
Brian, what are you doing? What are you doing? I need you inside to help me with the dishes.
Honey, I'm working in the garage.